Wow, you guys are ahead of the game. You set up the tents already.
I'd say we're right about on schedule, actually. We were aiming to have them set up before you arrived.
Traveler, Paimon, let's go fishing together. You got it. Dinner's on us tonight. I hope I can contribute too. The other Forest Watchers gave me some fishing tips a little while ago. I'm really looking forward to giving them a try.
I saw some very appetizing mushrooms in the area, so I gathered a few for us. I'll leave.
Wow, camping with a Forest Watcher is the way to go. They think of everything.
This is true. I don't think I've ever had a single rough day in this forest.
So, how has everything been going for you?
Well, there's been some high points and low points, but we've had some unforgettable experiences along the way.
I see. Oh, in that case, you should try a Valberry. I bought some from the market this morning.
A valuable suggestion. Just don't bury your feelings using food.
All I wanted was to recommend something bittersweet.
Oh, I have a sudden craving for fruit tea. I'm gonna go fetch some stuff. Bye!
She sure made a run for it.
Unbelievable.
So Kale chose the path of tactical retreat. My dear friend, you know what I... Excellent! A kindred spirit. A great warrior can... But it looks like we'll get told off if we start playing now.
We got a bite!
I'll reel it in.
Firewood, spices, snacks, and drinks. Everything's ready. Once There are 3 tents. Which one do you two want to take? But it's also the closest to the water. If there are any sleepwalking fungi around tonight, they might stumble into your tent.
Well, that's no good. Take my weapon.
Anyone would think you were sealing the gates to King Deshret's mausoleum.
Excellent. Then this tent will be an impenetrable fortress.
I'm back! How's your appetites? Ready for the barbecue? Always. Oh, it smells so good.
Someone sure is desperate to eat. I think it's...
Wait, what? Isn't that just for steaks? Hey, if it works for steak, maybe it works for other things too?
Medium well for me.
Okay, these are about ready now then. It'll be a few more minutes for anyone who wants theirs, well...
Oh, that was so delicious. If Paimon... I ate a lot too. Here...
Sleepy too, Paimon. What?
Tonight I show you mercy.
Good night. Paimon's struggling to keep her eyes open.
Oh, don't forget this. The Staff of the Scarlet Sands.
Wait, you were actually being serious about that?
It's a very powerful weapon.
Paimon can't even lift that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, Paimon's sure. We'll be fine. And even if we do get an uninvited guest in the night, Paimon will...
That reminds me of a parting king of invocations. I'll tell you about it tomorrow. But right now...
I think they should all be here. Traveler? Paimon?
Look at this.
What the? What's this sword doing here? Is it supposed to keep out intruders?
Evidently.
Huh? Who is it? Paimon's gonna take out the sword. Yeah! I'll hate them.
Sorry to wake you up at this hour of the night, but we've got a situation on our hands.
Let's get dressed and talk about it outside.
Something has come up. And since it pertains to Cyrus and Cyno, I deemed it essential to inform...
Whoa, back up. Let's start from the beginning. Where'd the wine cups go? I could have sworn I left them here after I washed them. Ah, there they are.
I'll have a cup too.
Can you see if the cookies are still on the table?
They are. And so are the fruits.
Oh, this is so bland. I should have gotten a few bottles of what Cyno's group was drinking.
Do tell.
Oh, right, I forgot to mention. So, I ran into Cyrus yesterday evening when I went to the tavern to pick up some things. He was hosting a dinner for Cyno, Tighnari, Kale, and the Traveler and Paimon. Anyway, they got a bottle of Lombard's new vintage for the table. At least, I think that's what it was. It looked pretty good.
Sounds like they're all tangled up in this.
You know what it's about, right? 16-year-old kid tried to extort Cyrus. He was asking for 10 million mora.
I heard some people talking about it on the streets, yes. Didn't take them long to catch the culprit. The sages are probably dealing with the case by now.
I wonder what Sir Nephis and the others will make of it. Oh, Cyrus showed me the extortion letter, too. It was crudely written, but the paper had this beautiful pattern on it that I've never seen before. Really caught my eye. Give me a sec, I'll sketch it out for you. Okay, done. Take a look. You see what I mean? I don't think I've ever seen writing.
Interesting.
What?
Take this, for instance. Looks like an outline of a spire, similar to the kind found on some ancient palaces. And the crisscrossing and mirroring here, I recognize it bears a striking resemblance to an ancient emblem. One that hasn't...
Whose emblem is it?
It's the emblem of the Temple of Silence.
After discussing it with each other, we both agreed that something didn't feel right. So we went looking for you. This was a long way to come from the city. Al-Haytham figured you were probably... Then, just as we were
Hold on. So what's the deal with that emblem you were talking about? The Temple of Silence, you said? What is that? Should we be worried?
Something's up, huh? Give me a second. Let me get Kale.
So you've never heard of the Temple of Silence? Well, to put it simply, these days, you can find a Temple of Silence office in the academia. At least, that, historically speaking, the original Temple of Silence is said to have been established by Hermanubis, one of the 7 pillars of King Deshret and the greatest of all sages. Most of the organization's members hailed from the desert. By contrast, none of the Academia Temple's current members are from the desert region, nor do they use any symbols connected with the desert folk.
So the Temple of Silence at the Academia is just a fake? Wow.
It's possible. The real question is, why? My guess is they're covering something up.
So, how do you know all this?
Did you forget? He did a stint as acting Grand Sage, and kept the pay raise even after he resigned.
Oh, yeah! Paimon did totally forget about it.
If you're asking me whether I familiarized myself with the documentation in my office, I would...
So much about this doesn't make sense. Why did the emblem of the Temple of Silence appear on a threat letter from an academia student to Cyrus? The student's only 16, and doesn't have any family ties to the desert. So...
You said you ran into Cyno, yes?
Yep. He ran off as soon as he heard what we said.
Given that Cyrus is involved, still, we should try to catch up with him.
If the Academia's Temple of Silence really does exist just to cover up the we should pay...
Yes.
If this situation is connected to the real Temple...
Kale, could I trouble you to send a message to the Core of 30? Tell them to keep an eye out for Cyno and Cyrus. Traveler, Paimon, you two come with me.
Sounds like a plan.
Cyrus has been living in the city lately. He rented a place near the field so he can keep an eye on his tomato plants.
We might be too late. Looks like nobody's home. Oh, Cyno moves fast. If he was...
I know that voice. Is that Tighnari I hear?
Ah! Professor Zaha Hadid!
Wow, so it really is you. My goodness.
We're looking for Cyno.
Yes, not long ago, in fact. He knocked on my door and I told him the old fool left early this morning, and I hadn't heard him come back. So we went to his place, and would you believe it? He's gone. Goodness knows where to. It must have alarmed Cyno, because he took off in an...
Well, if Cyrus isn't at home...
Professor, did you hear that a...
Why, yes. When I left the house that day, I noticed he was watering his flowers in the field in complete silence. He had a piece of paper clutched in his hand, and I could tell something was troubling. After seeing the letter, Cyno told him to contact the Corps of 30, but Cyrus was very reluctant. He claimed it would only damage his reputation. Eventually...
Huh? Cyrus didn't want to report it? Well, that's strange.
As a former sage, it's possible Cyrus...
So Cyrus initially hoped to stop this from going public.
Oh, dear. What on earth has that... Oh, I almost forgot.
Thank you.
What does it say? My friends.
Yep, that sounds like Cyno. Thank you, Professor. Please do not worry. We will do all we can to protect Traveler, Paimon. Let's head to...
You're here? I thought you were going after... Ah, I guess you lost their trail.
We went to Cyrus's house. No one was there. Cyno got there before us, but he was long gone by the time we arrived.
He didn't say where he was going?
No. He left us a letter and told us not to go after him.
Can't say I'm surprised.
Typical Cyno. Anyway, some updates on progress on our end. I drew the emblem from memory again, but in more detail this time.
I checked some ancient texts for a similar design. The one I found...
Yeah, and we're lucky.
Meanwhile, Arav managed to get Uraka to disclose his source. The one who told him about Cyrus's embezzled funds was a young man from the desert. According to Uraka, he had a striking presence.
Apparently, the two met in the tavern over a game of cards. The guy claimed to be in the city for business as part of a merchant caravan. Uraka was intrigued when he heard what his new acquaintance had to say and brought up the idea of extorting Cyrus for Mora. The guy encouraged him to go ahead with it, then handed him some pen and paper.
I see.
So, how do we find this guy?
He doesn't know. He claims not...
Nephis and Arav have gone to meet the Corps of 30 and review the city's entry and exit records. Also, Nephis admitted that the Temple of Silence in the Academia is just a facade. The true Temple of Silence once came to the rainforest to establish a collaboration with the Academia. The Temple of Silence felt that they could no longer trust the Academia and ended the partnership. Ever since its inception, the Temple of Silence has been the guardians of King Deshret's civilization and belief system. They traveled throughout Sumeru, sequestering and guarding any wisdom that posed a threat to the people's livelihoods. At its roots, it was a legitimate...
The Academia of the day knew that the split
Not only that, but they managed to keep up the charade for hundreds of years!
So how did Cyrus become acquainted with the true Temple of Silence if they left?
I'll bet that's the question that bothered Cyno. Probably why he went after him in such a...
Whoever is behind this, getting Uraka to extort Cyrus was only the first step of the plan.
He must have recognized it right away. That'll be why...
Since the desert is where the Temple of Silence originated, that is...
I have to go after him.
Really? Are you sure that's a good idea, with how you respond to the heat? Why don't we send someone else?
I should be fine, as long as I bring plenty of water. Besides, I just can't shake this ominous feeling that if we don't catch up to them soon...
Everyone, I have news from the Corps of 30.
Master!
Oh, so that's Nafis, Tighnari's master? Oh.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Traveler and Paimon. Several independent eyewitnesses have reported seeing Cyrus and Mahamatra Cyno leaving the city at different times. I was going to suggest that you join forces with the Corps of 30 in this case, however, the Academia has made a number of decisions throughout history that I am ashamed to talk about. It may well be that no better choice was available to them, but those actions are nonetheless a stain on our legacy. I won't attempt to make you understand the Academia's perspective. Now is the time for action.
I understand where you're coming from, Master. But I'm afraid the situation...
Good point. If Cyrus... everyone.
Need our help? Whatever you need, we got...
Really? Wonderful. Arav and I will continue to follow up on the lead from Uraka. Kaveh, Scribe Alhaitham, I'd like to ask you to cover... Tighnari,
I am. Kaveh, I'll be okay.
Well, if you're sure...
Thank you all. Arav, let's go.
You'd better get moving. Don't forget to ask for help when you need it.
Will do. Let's go, Tighnari. Hopefully we can catch...
Knowing him, he's probably covered a fair distance already, but we still...
Okay, we made it to Caravan Ribat. Where should we go next? Maybe we should ask the...
Hold on.
Is that Dia?
You sure you want to brave the desert alone?
It's not my first time. I'll be fine.
Cyno.
If you're really going to go through with this, then at least take our advice. When you're packing for your trip, budget for 5 days more than you plan to spend out there.
Makes sense.
Thought we might find you here. You're trying to retrace Cyrus's steps, aren't you?
Didn't I tell you not to come after me?
Well, sorry, but we never agreed to that. Why would you go off on your own like this?
Nothing personal. It's just a complex situation. And I'd rather not involve anyone else if I can help it.
Takes a special kind of person to get Cyno chasing them all the way out to Caravan Rebot. But why so coy today, huh? You only gave us his age and description. Why can't you reveal his name? Oh, also, hey guys, it's been a while.
Dia and Candace! So nice to...
You're looking well. Glad to see it. Candace and I came to Caravan Rebot on business. Some people say they saw him. Guess he stood out as an older guy heading into the desert alone with just a... That's gotta be one heck of a story there.
Cyno, it's okay if you can't tell us anything about the case. But let us know how we can support you. We're here to help however you need. The more people we have working on this, the quicker we'll be able to find the person you seek.
No, it's not that simple.
We spoke with Zaha Hadid. From what she said, it's pretty clear that he wants to try and solve this on his own. It won't be easy trying to find him in the desert when he's deliberately trying to cover his tracks.
Sounds like this is far more complex than we imagined.
Still, if he started from Caravan Rebot, the chances are that his route took him past Aru village. You may as well ask if anyone there has seen him.
My thanks to you both. Once this is resolved, I will find a way to repay you.
Come on. No need to get all serious. Just buy a round of drinks next time we're all in the city or something. All right.
Yes, we'll handle it.
All right. Then we'll leave you to it. Just remember, if you change...
And don't think you'd be imposing. You can depend on us.
Don't worry, we'll keep him out of trouble.
Hold on. There's a few things. So, after you left the campsite...
Clearly, we've only scratched the surface of the Temple of Silence question. It doesn't surprise me at all.
Do you have any connection with the Temple of Silence?
I do. I trust you're all aware of the spirit that gives me my power. Hermanubis, the original founder of the... Due to my unique constitution, I was put through a number of trials in the desert when I was younger. Later. But my memory of that time is hazy. I can't recall much. It's a good thing that Kaveh noticed the emblem on the letter. Without that, I don't know if we would have connected the dots and realized there was more to this case than mere extortion. I did not recognize that symbol at all. Whether that's because I've never...
Yeah, you're right. Thank goodness for...
But Cyrus must have recognized it right away, right? Otherwise, he wouldn't have had any qualms about you.
I suspect so, too.
Well, speaking of avoiding things, you do realize, don't you, now that we've caught up with you, you're stuck with us for the rest of the way.
I am... Or rather...
That's right. Fact is, we're coming with you whether you like it or not, so the best option now is to try to look out for each other. Ha!
Fair enough.
Works for me. All right, off we go. Let's start by seeing what the guard...
Hello.
Mahamatra.
I'm looking for someone.
A man matching that description passed by Aru village not too long ago. He stopped by to load up on food and water and feed his sumpter beast. Then he was on his way.
Where was he going?
Let me think. He took a seat by the entrance of the village for a while and had a brief chat with the person who came to deliver the water. He said he was headed... Do you have a map?
I have one.
Great. There you go.
Thank you so much.
You've got a really good memory.
Ah, you're quite welcome. Best of luck.
A familiar sight. The sunshine will eventually illuminate every hidden corner. Hold on.
Do you think it's safe to ask?
Should be. I'll go.
No. I'll do it.
Huh? Why can't Sino go talk to them?
Given my background, appearance, and the way I dress,
Ah, hello there.
Oh, a missing person, huh? Sure.
I'm just wondering if you've seen him. Let me give you...
So, a silver-haired guy in a long robe, culture type with thoughtful eyes, and he's traveling alone.
He'd stand out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, sounds like the kind of guy we'd remember if...
He's looking behind me.
Uh-oh.
Your friend over there... Hey, aren't you...
yes,
You don't seem surprised that I recognized you.
it wouldn't be the
Oh, you're the one looking for the old man who's gone missing, aren't you?
I have a bad feeling about this guy.
Someone's on edge. You don't trust me much, do you? No need to hide it. I understand.
I thought you were a group of merchants. Seems I was mistaken.
Your henchmen don't look like much, but something tells me they...
Hey, hear that, guys? You're my henchmen now.
Suits me, as long as I get paid for it.
Just cut to the chase already. I'm running out of patience.
All right, come with me. All of you. Don't you want to find your friend? A silver-haired, long-robe, culture type with thoughtful eyes? Sounds like there's a whole other side to Cyrus I didn't know about.
So you know where he is?
Just follow me. And
What? Where are you looking? There's nothing.
please step.
Whoa, something's coming up.
What is this enormous building doing here?
And how was it so well hidden?
Wait, so...
Is this the temple?
All good questions. There'll be plenty of time to address them.
This is not what Paimon was expecting to find in the desert, especially not hidden right next to an oasis. Oh, Paimon's scared. They must have kidnapped Cyrus. Do you think this is...
What's wrong? Thinking about your professor?
I just hope for your sake you haven't done anything you might regret.
Well, me too. Hope I haven't done anything to incur your wrath. All right. You can wait here for now. I'll inform our leader that you've arrived at the Temple of Silence.
So he's just gonna leave us here?
They can't have been at the oasis by...
So this is the Temple of Silence. After leaving the rainforest, they hid themselves here?
Hey, look! That guy's coming back.
Don't worry. Someone will come and call...
What's your name?
Sorry, my name is Sethos. I'll be here if you need me, but I'm not planning on answering all of your questions.
So we're free to explore by ourselves?
Yep. I mean, Cyrus is here. And unless I've misunderstood...
He's right.
Hey, Sethos!
Sure. Although, I'm assuming by chat, you mean you have questions for me? I don't blame you. Anyone else would. Not often. The Temple of Silence is a place of quiet and solitude. We don't get too many visitors. Yes, that was me. Although, tricked is a stretch. He was asking everyone in the tavern about ways to make some easy money. He insisted that nothing was off the table, even if it broke.
So you framed Cyrus for a crime that he did not commit?
No. That's not entirely true. Let me jog your memory. The letter just said that he had uncovered Cyrus's secret. Of course. Uraka was a great accomplice, really. Very cooperative with a little bit of wine in him. Did exactly what he was told. And not much of an original thinker, though.
Why did Cyrus leave for the desert as soon as he received the letter?
You'll have to ask him that one yourself. All you need to know is that he recognized our emblem. And it was his own choice to take the bait. What kind of question is that? He's the General Mahamatra. Everyone in Sumeru knows who he is.
Right, but back at the Oasis, you can't have known who he was for sure, or you wouldn't have asked him. So, what we're really asking is...
I've lived in the desert my whole life. Guess you could say I've never had the pleasure.
Ugh, why does Paimon feel like this guy's not...
Come on, we've only just met. If I give you all the answers up front, you'll have nothing left to... Nope.
Really?
I have no need to go there. Not when the taverns are full of the Urakas of this world. Besides, we're well aware of what goes on at that place. Spies? It's not as clandestine as that. The city... What kind of question is that?
Right, but back at the...
I've lived in the desert my...
Ugh, why does
Come on, we've only just met. If I give you all the answers up front, you'll... Nope.
Really?
I have no need to go there. Not when the taverns are full of the Urakas of this world. Spies? It's not as clandestine as that. The city gates are wide open. Anyone's...
I never imagined that the true Temple of Silence would be hidden somewhere like that.
That's King Deshret's technology for you, I guess. It borders on the miraculous. Amazing to think that it's been preserved intact all this time.
We should be wary of our hosts. Still, at this point, we can be confident that the Professor is safe and sound. So that's something.
Here yet. Grandfather, the person you wish to see...
Well done, Sethos. Greetings, one and all. I am Ba Moon, the...
Professor!
Cyrus, are you...
Watch what you're doing!
Oh, my apologies. We have no intention of causing you distress. But you must understand, Cyrus owes me his life. And to the Temple of Silence, he owes a debt of gratitude. I let him go a long time.
I wanted to end my feud with this old... Just leave, Cyno. This is a matter between us two old men. You're all too young to get involved.
So that's why you didn't want to report the letter. You'd made up your mind to come here from the beginning.
Some things in life catch up with you.
Cyno didn't make us do anything. We came here for the same reason he did. To rescue you.
My secrets are secret for good reason. Bringing them to light can...
You're afraid, aren't you? You can't bring yourself to speak of your past deeds to the students you nurtured as if they were your own children. You recognized our emblem because for many years you lived among us. Indeed, you all but became... You knew as soon as you saw the letter that we, not Uraka, were the ones speaking to you. It threatened you only because you know what you did. Your own guilt convicted you. For you, Cyrus, are a traitor. You once shared your learning with us, and joined us in our mission to revive the might of Hermanubis, to bring new hope, new opportunity. But then, you betrayed us. You bargained for your independence with your past contributions. And then you left, taking with you Hermanubis' might and the We both know what I said to you that day. That as the leader, I grant you permission to leave, but that one day, the sands of time will catch up with you. And when that day comes, you must pay the price you owe.
You really know how to hold a grudge.
Hermanubis' might?
Does he mean you?
Professor.
The moon is right. He rescued me from the brink of death once, many years ago in the desert. When he learned that I was a scholar, he invited me to come here and revive the might of Hermanubis together. It was great. Bamoon proposed that many believers volunteered themselves for the experiment. But we soon discovered that the bodies of grown adults could not withstand Hermanubis' power. In the end, one other child was identified as a suitable vessel, and his parents agreed to release him into our custody in exchange for a small fortune. These two children were our only hope.
For many years, the test subjects were the original plan. As the second stage began, I realized a decision had to... But as I was deliberating, both Ba fragments suddenly became active. They glowed with a light we had never seen before. I knew that if they were not implanted right away, they would disintegrate. Our two vessels had both displayed great promise by successfully resonating with the fragments. Under the circumstances, the thought of implanting both fragments into the same vessel seemed out of the question. To preserve our faith and our power, we implanted each of them with a single fragment.
Ultimately, I ended the experiment and left, taking one of the children with me.
In recognition of your past contributions, I chose not to send someone to hunt down and kill you both. Your lives were spared, but I have paid a great price for your betrayal ever since. I have always wanted to see you, Cyno. Losing you and your Ba fragment dealt us a devastating blow. We've been in decline ever since you left.
I see. So that's how I gained my power.
Look, in essence, I borrowed your Ba fragment for a decade or so. And now you are seeking justice. If you want to take my life, then so be it. I'm an old man now anyway. But you cannot lift a finger against Cyno. He is the General Mahamatra. Your actions would be seen as a declaration of war against the Academia.
I'm sure you don't remember anymore, dear Cyno, but you've met us all before. You were so young then, when we all gathered around and celebrated the revival of our Lord. You and he, Sethos, you were our final hope.
You'd like me to return my power?
As a follower of Hermanubis, I have allowed this power to remain in the rainforest for far too long. Now, it is time to reclaim it.
That power is not yours to reclaim. Cyno was chosen by the gods. You cannot take what they have bestowed.
You are wrong. Cyno was chosen, but he was not the only one. My child...
So those are your terms for freeing the professor?
Despise me all you want. My sins are my own. The Temple of Silence is an innocent party. It is because of my foolishness all those years ago that the Temple's glory has waned. And now I must take responsibility for the decision I made back then.
So what you're saying is, the power of one Ba fragment is not enough? You're asking me to return the one in my possession, so it can be implanted in him instead?
Divine power causes great suffering to those who wield it. How do you know?
He is no longer a small child. But regardless, this burden is ours to bear, and your objections mean little given that you turned your back on us long ago.
I know. But if this is a question of your freedom versus a fragment of power, then there is nothing to debate.
Sorry to there are a number of contentions here that still need addressing. Cyno refuses to return his power, and you also refuse to release Cyrus. Then, we are at an impasse. I find it hard to believe that you went to all this effort without planning for that possibility. You're trying to gauge where we stand while keeping your remaining cards close to your chest. Well, my stance is, put the rest of your cards on the table.
Wait, those ears. So, we have a descendant of the Valukashuna in our midst. Splendid! Everything we have longed for, Hermanubis will provide. Perhaps this very day we'll...
Why is he coughing so much? He looks...
Pamoon, you...
Take our leader back to his room. Grandfather, I know what you wish to say. I don't like to drag out conversations, so I'll just cut to the chase. Had Cyrus not stopped the experiment all those years ago, the plan would most likely have been a success. The wisdom of Hermanubis would have been ours. Still, it's no use talking about what-ifs. We cannot change the past. I'm not like my grandfather. The Temple of Silence has a grand legacy and a sacred duty to fulfill. So it's somewhat inevitable for the leader to have an inflated sense of self. But I see things a little differently. I don't believe the temple has the same stature that it once did. Time has worn away at its prestige and changed things almost beyond recognition. So I'm not going to force your hand. You're all free to leave. Except for Cyrus. My grandfather gave him his...
You have courage. I truly wish that the temple would take an objective look at the academia of today. You've been to the city yourself. I'm sure you've seen that things will only continue to improve. Why not consider cooperating with the academia once more?
If you hadn't betrayed my grandfather, I might well be open to persuasion.
Tighnari made a good point earlier. All you and Ba-Moon are after is the Ba fragment. The professor will accept whatever fate you deem fit for him out of a sense of guilt. I am the one who has a choice to make. And that's how it was always going to be. Ultimately, you want to trade the Ba fragment for the professor, correct?
I'm glad to see you're giving it some serious consideration.
I won't forsake my professor. Nor do I intend to run from a problem that I must face sooner or later. Give me one night to make my decision.
That works. Then I'll be waiting to hear your verdict. Oh, my grandfather still has a fair few things he wants to say to Cyrus, so...
Are you sure about negotiating with him?
I need to think this through. Everyone, let's meet again later tonight.
Alright, well, don't put too much pressure on yourself, Cyno. If you need any help working things out, just...
Futile! I've taken some time to reflect on this. If I had to guess, Professor Cyrus, he's a stubborn man who tends to double down when he feels strongly about something. We won't get anywhere trying to convince him to escape.
I agree. My master Nephis says the same thing. Once Cyrus makes up his mind about something, he won't listen to reason.
So that's one thing. You've heard all you need to hear about the Temple of Silence. So on, my own memories of this place are hazy, though. Probably something to do with the overpowering presence of the Ba fragments. That might explain why. I do remember having some fleeting moments of profound emotion when vague images would appear in my mind. But I don't recall much, only bits and pieces. I was still young then, and all I could understand was that there was a strong will inside my mind. Thinking back on it now, I suppose it was Hermanubis' way of trying to encourage me, even if we couldn't communicate. The power that came to inhabit my spirit was probably one of the cornerstones of their whole faith. So if the will and might of Hermanubis is a real, intangible thing, and they are its rightful worshippers, then...
You're not gonna give in to their demands, are you? Surely there has to be another way!
No. I have no intention of returning it. I need this power to protect Sumeru. But the temple has the right to make the final decision over its fate, since it belongs to one of the 7 pillars of King Deshret. So I will challenge them head on, and win the right to wield this power for myself.
This reminds me of something Alhaitham mentioned to me just before we left. He said that the Temple of Silence... Kaveh has made similar observations about the desert tribes from his work trips there. He says many of them have their own internal rules. They talk about the importance of never dishonoring their... I think we could turn that to our advantage.
Wow, and just like that, we've turned the tables on...
Looks like we have the same idea. Turn it back on them now while we still can.
Great. And I know just how to start the...
Sethos.
Have you made up your mind?
We'll get to that, but first, I have some degree of medical training, so I was wondering if you might let me take a look at your grandfather?
I have no objections, although we do have our own doctors here.
Only...
Follow me. Keep your voices down.
Let's talk outside. Bamoon has fallen into a deep coma, and his prognosis is quite grave. I'm sure that your physicians have come to the same conclusion. He appears to have sustained a serious injury in his youth, which has been exacerbated over the years by the heavy burden of work and now by the effects of old age. Regretfully, I must inform you that, based on what I've seen with patients in a similar condition...
Yeah. I've known.
You're his heir, aren't you? You clearly have a lot of respect for the man. But you also see things differently. You have a broader range of concerns and a more pragmatic approach. So tell me how we can end this on your terms. Let's find a way to bring all this to a resolution while Bamoon is still alive to see it. That's what really matters to you. I know it.
Yeah, there's no time to waste here.
You know, the two of you are actually in a very similar predicament right now. Both of you have a very different perspective from the men who...
Right. And you didn't create this situation. They did, but somehow you've ended up having to make the tough decisions.
You're right. We both look at this problem. I accept, Cyno. This all began... Legend has it that when Hermanubis first arrived into Lake... That group of supporters were...
Sounds very fitting.
As a fellow vessel of Hermanubis, your ties to the Temple of Silence run deep. So I will permit you to participate in...
3 against 3. Sounds good.
However, I have some additional terms. As the challengers, you must win all 3 of your fights to win. And Cyno, letting Cyrus leave with one of the Ba fragments was a mistake, made by my grandfather out of pity. It is a long-standing issue that must be addressed for the Temple of Silence to move forward.
None needed. We're on the same page. If I win, the Temple of Silence must release Cyrus. If you win...
It's a deal. Then let's meet...
Well, after how that went, there's definitely no turning back now.
There never was. Turning back hasn't been an option for me since the moment the professor slipped away to return to the death.
You have to win. You need this power.
Yeah, that's right! Besides, it stayed with you ever since you were a...
Both as yeah. When you put it that way. I've had to
Exactly!
The Traveler and I...
And neither shall I. The desert was home to an ancient and great civilization that, for a variety of reasons, fell out with the civilization of the rainforest. But there must be personal factors at work here, too. I can't shake the feeling that Bamoon cares for many more things than he lets on. And I don't Tomorrow, everything will be resolved.
We gather on this day to perform once more the rite of duels, with the greatest of all sages, Lord Hermanubis, as our witness. For his power and authority, this is our most sacred, representing the...
Grandfather, you're here.
A rite of duels.
I know what I'm doing, Grandfather.
Representing the Academia...
Ready.
Warriors, take your... We come not to debate what brings our challengers here.
Huh? Are you sure?
I agree. He's very strong. Send...
Okay.
Sure.
We have decided.
So have we.
Duelists of the first bout, please step forward.
Don't forget, safety first! Hey, you there! You better play nice with them or Paimon will make you regret it!
Little bit too much chatter from the audience over there.
Hey!
Yeah. A swift end to the first bout. When you're both ready...
Let's begin.
Watch out!
Go, Kunai, go!
He drank plenty of water before the bout, so he should be fine.
Can't see? And Shroud! Let's nip that in the bud.
Thus ends the...
I'm ready.
So am I.
This is the final stage of... When you're both ready...
I am Sethos. For many years, We have kept our covenant with Lord Hermanubis by guarding the secrets of King Deshret. And we earnestly sought Lord Hermanubis' wisdom and power, longing to see his spirit and his light descend upon us. Now, I am
Cyno, General Mahamatra of the Academia, student and successor of Cyrus, the Sage of Spantamad. I fight in defense of my power, my professor, and my nation. And you. I think you left some things unsaid. This is a sacred duel, and Hermanubis is watching. So bare your soul.
Everyone, old and young. My grandfather is a wise leader, but our faith has held us. Times have changed. Then I thought of you. Each Ba fragment of Hermanubis stands for something different. I once thought...
I am more than just...
Exactly. The name Hermanubis has left its mark on both of us. Shaped the course of our lives. We are... So show me your answer, Cyno. Show me I can be more than my faith. More... Bring it on!
That's all you've got? What happened to searching for your answer? Fight's over. Do you yield?
You won.
Well then, looks like you found your answer.
I give his glory to you.
I've seen that light. That is the light of our Lord, the great Hermanubis, priest over all other priests. His spirit dwells within that lightning, and his will lives on. Once a warrior of Tynar, he emerged from the barren desert sands to serve the god king Al-Ahmar. After the death of the god king, Hermanubis gathered his followers and the Tynarian priests and led them to the city of Tule-Tula. There, they founded the Temple of Silence, and from that day forth, we became stewards of all knowledge that survived from King Deshret's civilization. Barely a century passed before war ravaged the desert. One by one, Eremite leaders took up arms against each other in battles that would devour what little remained of their civilization. But peace did not last. Coveting the knowledge of King Deshret, the beasts set their eyes on Tule Tula. The king of Gurabad laid siege to the city and ordered the sages to surrender to him the Temple of Silence as proof of his victory. The ruling elite colluded with their oppressors, betraying the temple so as to hold on to their rule over the city. They declared that the knowledge guarded by the temple was the true cause of corruption. These were dark days, and we faced enemies on all sides. Our lord had long since exhausted his strength, keeping the forbidden knowledge introduced by King Deshret at bay. To ensure the temple's continued survival, he broke his being into many pieces and began the ceremony of Hermanubis' legacy, bestowing his power upon his mortal followers. With this power, the temple was able to defeat the tyrant's army. Yet, we were not hailed as heroes. Strange and unfamiliar as this power was, it struck fear into the people's hearts and drove them to reject us. In the end, the people of the temple and the Tule Tula Tainarians left the city for good and made their way to the rainforest. What followed next was inevitable. The elite of Tule Tula fell and were decimated. War engulfed the desert. And we wandered from place to place, always in hiding, all the while keeping close watch over our secrets and staying true to our mission. Betrayal forced us out of the desert and into the forest. Then mistrust drove us from the forest into the desert once more. We have lived in exile for far, far too long. Yet, today, the Temple of Silence has borne witness to the glory of Hermanubis once more. Thank you.
How is it? Do you feel
Grandfather.
Hey, Sethos.
I know.
I guess you were prepared for this.
Yeah. He's been on death's door for a very long time. At least, he was able to see this chapter come to a close before he passed.
What's next for you?
Per my grandfather's last wishes, the Temple of Silence should submit to whoever possesses the largest number of Hermanubis fragments.
But that's never going to work. As I'm sure you realize, I did foresee this possibility and I gave it some thought. The fact is, I know next to nothing about the staff, records, and environment here. As such, I am ill-suited to be your leader, Sethos. I believe the honor should go to you. Were it not for this duel, or indeed if you had other intentions. I do.
Still, I didn't think Bamoon looked very surprised by the final result. Perhaps he...
Well, in any case, Sethos, I would like you...
But it doesn't...
No, it doesn't. That's a much bigger deal than you might think, Sethos. You said yourself, times have changed. You have to believe that things can change for the better here at the temple too.
I will try.
Actually, part of me wonders whether Bamoon's intentions from the very beginning was just to create enough pressure to force us towards a duel. That way, no matter who won, one of us would have to surrender our Ba fragment, and the power of Hermanubis would be concentrated in one single person. Had you won, and were I to win, he knew that the temple's future would depend not just on the guidance of Hermanubis, but the support of the academia too. So he made it his responsibility to ensure his successor would be free from the burdens of the past. His plan meant that whoever ended up succeeding him, they would have an easier time interacting with the academia. With one single letter, he lured out the professor. No matter what happened after that.
And here I thought the General Mahamatra wouldn't care for all the... You're absolutely right. Thank you for everything, Cyno. As a gesture of our gratitude, to those that you and Lesser Lord Kusanali deem worthy, I will grant the honor of access to the Temple of Silence for their pursuit of knowledge. The Temple of Silence has a wealth of... But you must be exceedingly... By the way, Tighnari, my grandfather was so happy to see you. You are a descendant of the Veluca Shuna. The story goes that King Deshret chose the sage Hermanubis from among the Tighnarians and appointed him as his familiar. He went on to fight many valiant battles with his Tighnarian companions. They always stood by each other. From the founding of the temple, the Tighnarians who left Tuletula, in all likelihood, those were your ancestors.
How fascinating. My father once mentioned that I was named after the Tighnarians, but I never knew that my forebears had such a history with the Temple of Silence.
I like this story.
By the way, has anyone...
Yes. So,
if it's true that you...
Who knows?
Someone's got to make the decisions when... I will make a detailed report on all of this to Lesser Lord Kusanali, and arrange for an official delegation from the Academia to come and meet you in the desert. I'm sure you'll have lots to attend to in the days ahead. If we're going to work together,
I will. All right, well...
See you soon. Come hang out with us anytime.
What were you thinking gallivanting off into the desert alone at your age? What if you take the bucket, You told not a soul what you were up to, designated nobody to handle your affairs, and left everyone scrambling frantically to try and figure out how on earth to clean—
Oh, please, will you stop?
What do you mean, what other choice? Do you mean to tell me that after all your years of learning, and sagehood no less, the only idea you could conjure up in that white-haired walnut of yours was to shoot off into the unknown like some hot-headed 20-year-old adventurer? A one-man suicide mission, That's the best idea that one of the finest minds of a generation could come up with, is it? It astounds me that you survived the journey, and you're lucky that Ba-Moon didn't finish—
All right, all right.
I've gotten—
What do you mean, bag of bones? I'm a flesh-and-blood hero who, despite his old age, saved our general— Okay, look. Fine, I admit it, I was in the—
Tighnari's master is really laying into Cyrus. Let's skip.
Professor brought this on himself. Don't pay any attention to him.
Wow. The last time he chewed someone out like this must have been back when—
I think I'll go around and update everyone. Tell them the situation. We can go for dinner afterward.
Makes sense. I'm in.
Paimon's coming too! What?
Wealth is the foundation on which civilization is built. Hey, Kale.
You're back! Well, look who we have here. Would you mind explaining to me what has been going on this past few days? I heard you all ran off into the desert and got embroiled in a major catastrophe.
All taken care of.
That does not answer my question. How could you be so careless? That goes for you as well. Yes, and you too. When you run into problems, you really ought to ask for help, you know? I've been around the block. Don't you think it would have made sense to involve me? And let's not forget, I know the desert like the back of my hand.
Now would not be a good time to attempt to argue with Farazan.
You're right.
Mm-hmm. It's not the first time that I've had to talk to you about this sort of thing either. You need to learn that there are times when the right thing to do is get a more experienced member of staff involved. Do I make—
Kale, please do something.
He's giving me the signal. Say, Madame Farazan, I can see you're pretty upset.
Huh? Wait, did I hear that right? Kale, you remember? Wonderful. Well, of course.
Poor Kale getting dragged off like that. Also,
Kale! Cup.
Huh? What? Oh, right!
What do you mean, cup?
Oh, it's nothing. Just Master's way of reminding me to stay hydrated while I'm out and about.
It's code for let's reconvene at the cafe. Tighnari and I used it while we were in school, and it's become something of a fan.
Oh, that's good.
Mm-hmm. 2 people left. Let's...
Please show me your credentials before borrowing